This is the Big Eddy section of the Deschutes. We're taking out at the Lava Island boat ramp. Kayakers usually put in at the Big Eddy trailhead, but there's no boat ramp though, so rafts usually go up to Aspen. You do get an extra mile, but it's almost all flat water. This is the biggest rapid you're going to see if you put in at Aspen. This is right at the top of the put-in eddy at the Big Eddy access point. You got the stern squirt spot, and at the bottom of the eddy, you got Big Eddy Rapid. There's this entrance hole up at the top here. The smoothest spot to hit it is right in the middle, right there. There's kind of a shelf on the river left side and a bigger hole on the river right side, and you go right between them. And then the crux of the rapid is coming up right here. You're going to break through these waves here with some left-hand angle and kind of tuck in behind that shelf on the left there and just keep on driving left away from the rocks on the right. Here's a shot from inside a raft. I've only rafted this section a handful of times. I've kayaked it more. Coming into that first move, I'm aiming for that white breaking wave up there. Maybe even a little farther than right than this would be good. I kind of had some right angle and sort of used the edge of that hole to move me right a little bit more, but the guides who'd been doing this longer than I have, I think were a little bit straighter and just a little bit farther right than I was. You just don't want to get pushed left there because you want to be right for the next move. Coming into the crux, I'm looking for a wave up here that I kind of drive into with some left angle so I can tuck behind that shelf there. Actually, you don't really tuck behind the shelf. The current's moving too fast for that, but in my head, that's what I'm trying to do, and it feels like the right line. And then coming through the bottom here, I just keep on driving left so I stay off those rocks on the right there, like all the way through this corridor. There's another one coming up. Yeah, that last one ahead there is the worst one. And then this is Sow's Hole at the bottom. You just tee up to that. Apart from those rocks on the right at the bottom, the other thing to really look out for in the raft is that you don't start driving left too early. If you catch your boat on the underwater rock shelf here, that can be even worse. You don't want to be too far right there either. Here's a line where I was just too late starting that drive to the left. Also, a couple of the people on the right ended up on the floor, and I didn't adjust to that as quickly as I should have, so I got pushed way over to the right. If I'd gotten pushed farther right than I did, it could have been pretty bad. As it was, I still got some tilt. It was still a real bad line. But it did funnel me back to about the same spot as I would have been running the normal line, so I feel like, of course you want to time it right, but if you're not sure, it's better to be a second late on that move than a second early, I think. One thing that feels different to me about guiding a raft on this section as opposed to a lot of other sections is that by the time you can see how your crew is going to handle paddling in a rapid, it's too late to do anything about it before you come to the one move where you really need them. So I think it's really important here to prep your crew really well for what you want out of them paddling in a rapid before they do it. I'm also more picky about who's sitting where in the raft. Usually I don't like to get too dogmatic about that stuff until I actually see what's happening, but on this river, you don't have that opportunity. You just have to get them ready for it. Also, I usually guide from the left, but I think on this run I'm going to start guiding from the right, because the one move you really need to worry about is that drive from right to left, and if you find yourself needing to do a lot of the work yourself, if you're guiding from the right, the strokes you're taking are helping to hold your angle, but if you're guiding from the left, every stroke you take is working against the angle you're trying to hold. In a kayak, your easiest option is probably just to run about the same line you would in a raft. It's a little different. You don't have to worry so much about your boat's drift, but you kind of have to tee up to things a little bit more. There's also a lot of things you can do to make the rapid more interesting if you want to. This is that wave right at the top of that entry hole. It's a really nice surf. You just have to, when you come off of it, you have to worry about that hole right behind it. You have to get around it or just be ready to go into it. Once it gets up over 1700, that wave doesn't have much of a back on it. It's harder to stay on it, but there's a really nice boof in here that you can do. Right at the crux of the rapid, there's a eddy catch that's pretty fun. That hole, Sow's Hole, kind of just below the crux, is a really nice surf at a lot of levels. It was good at 1300, it was good at 1600. At 1730, Kyle managed to get in there and have a really nice surf in there, but I just got flushed right out the side, so it depends on how good you are, I guess. That stretch from the entry hole through Sow's Hole is the crux of Big Eddy Rapid. It continues on down. There's more features down there, but they're quite a bit easier. There's a wave right here at the end of that straightaway after Sow's Hole that I thought was a pretty nice surf at 1730. Just below that, the river bends to the right. And in a raft, if you're not on the inside of that bend, the right side, there's some stuff you'll have to deal with. The far left side is pretty shallow, so you don't want to be over there. In the middle, there's a hole that you can punch through it at any level I've seen it, but the smoothest line is all the way over on the right. After that, there's a big pool, then these waves. Aaron's doing some tricks on them there. It's pretty easy just to navigate them. Then the river chills out for a little while, maybe 5 minutes or so. You get one more tiny little ripple, and then the takeout is on river left. And don't miss it because lava is right around the corner and it's quite a step up from this. And that's Big Eddy.